Hello, Ragers. I'm aware that you're all very busy, very fashionable, very genius individuals, so I will not be wasting your time. However, before we begin, if you haven't seen the previous two videos in the series, I recommend watching those first, as I give a better explanation about the series in the first video, as well as provide some good resources. But if you are a real rebel and continuing to watch this video without doing the required readings, you're on thin ice, although I do admire your charisma. Anyway, in short, I'll be going over 10 notable fashion brands in about 10 minutes. I know my last video in the series was like 20 minutes, so I'm gonna try to dumb things down in order to make this one shorter, and I really only say 10 minutes anyway because it sounds better. Reality can be whatever I want it to be. But in short, I'll touch on the brand's history, the designers, what the brand's known for, and any other mildly interesting facts that I feel as if are of note. So if you're new to this whole thing, this is a good, quick and easy way to gain immense fashion knowledge, and if you're already proficient in consumerism, it's always nice to brush up on your brand lore. Also, if I pronounce anything wrong, it's for comedic effect, I swear. But with that being said, let's just jump into it. APC, founded in 1988 by its creative director Jean Toutot, is a French Paris-based clothing brand that originally gained notoriety for its classic raw denim jeans. APC stands for... oh god, why did I do this to myself? Why didn't I just remain ignorant and choose all American brands? Atelier de Production et Création, which literally means production and creation workshop. Creation and production are both very fundamental and important aspects of the brand, as they work hand in hand with each other. Anyway, nowadays, APC offers a wide variety of Johns from all across the spectrum, from simple and elegant men and women's collections to quilts, candles, and of course their iconic denim. APC has it all. Jean also works with his wife, Judith, who serves as the brand's artistic director. Overall, APC has a very minimalist style. Jean is all about the absence of extravagance and instead focuses on the essentials. Basically, if reject modernity, embrace tradition was a brand. APC is a reflection of everyday life, which is why the majority of the designs are casual in nature, yet they still have a stylish and timeless feel to them, as Jean always uses quality materials and classic cuts. APC has a very immense history dating back to 1987 when the brand was founded, alongside its first winter collection. From there, the brand has evolved over the years, obviously, but it's managed to stay true to its core values without losing sight of its roots and vision. APC has around 70 of its own stores worldwide and can be found in a plethora of high-end and online retailers. They've also gone on to collab with Kid Cuddly, Braindead, Jound, Carhartt, and more. Unfortunately, this brand isn't without its fair share of controversy, and their Autumn-Winter 15 menswear presentation, Jean had titled a series of looks last, Neighbors in Paris, and although Kanye supposedly gave him the N-word pass, that didn't stop Timberland from cutting ties as a result of Jean's offensive remarks, and obviously a lot of people lost respect for him and the brand as a result. Sorry for ending on a bit of a sour note, but that's basically that. I also lied, APC stands for Ass Poop Cum. Originally getting their start by ripping off designs from Minimal, 99%ers was created in 2012 by Bajewoo, a Seoul, South Korean-based designer. This brand is heavily influenced by Bajewoo's love of the punk subculture, which is reflected through all the custom studs, zippers, safety pins, and whatnot that you see featured on a plethora of different garments. Although he doesn't like to be labeled as a fashion designer, nor the obligatory punk trait, his creations instead reflect his musical influences, but done his way, of course. He designs the clothes for the true 1%. A bit more on Bajewoo. He was born in 1984, began studying at ESMOD in Korea in 2003. After graduating, he created his own brand and began designing garments and creating artwork for rock bands. He traveled to a variety of different cities and explored their underground punk scenes, which further influenced and inspired him. He later moved to Tokyo in 2008 and was admitted into fashion school in 2010. During his second year is when he decided to officially launch 99%ers, while the autumn-winter season in 2012 was underway, which allowed for the brand to make its debut at Tokyo Fashion Week in 2014, where he showed off the brand's spring-summer collection. Oh, and he also graduated that same year. As I've previously mentioned, Bajewoo is heavily influenced by punk and street culture, as well as music. 99%ers essentially serves as his vessel to express his interpretation of futuristic punk and streetwear fashion through the use of graphic color treatments, bold patterns, graffiti, and sharp, aggressive cuts and stylings, alongside a lot of DIY. The brand's history is cataloged on their website, which is definitely worth a look. I'll link it down below. And although 99%ers is probably most famous for their gobchang pants, which have been seen on the likes of Travis Scott, Hailey Bieber, Odell Beckham Jr., and more, they do have a lot more very interesting standout punk-inspired pieces. The most recent collection, entitled Altitude, but with like the 1% instead of the I in the middle, very cool, reminds me of old PS3 gamer tags. This collection has a lot of DIY, out there, edgy, cool, punk, in-your-face designs, as well as new innovative pieces combined with reimagined versions of cult classics of the brand. Each garment from this collection features the phrase handmade custom from 1% on the label, which certainly gives this collection and the brand as a whole a unique feel of authenticity, and it certainly reflects Baju's goal of doing things his way. I definitely recommend keeping an eye on this brand as they continue to innovate and evolve. Founded in 1994 by Shinsuke Takizawa in Tokyo's Harajuku district, which is a notorious place where many high-profile Japanese streetwear brands got their start, such as Undercover, Double Taps, Bape, and more. Neighborhood was started as a result of Takizawa's fascination with American culture through 60s films, his personal passions of punk rock, and through his own hobbies of riding and customizing bikes, which has continued to influence his design/thought process in regard to the brand, which is further evident through Neighborhood paying homage to motorcyclists by interpreting its culture into functional menswear. So basically, Japanese Chrome Hearts. A lot of Neighborhood's jaunts have a vintage feel to them that stems from other influencers such as London's punk scene, military garb, as well as outdoor apparel, on top of course, biker jackets and distressed and salvaged denim. This relates back to the Western influences seen within Harajuku in and around the 1980s and 90s, where again, brands like Undercover and Double Taps also were strongly influenced by the Americana aesthetic, and those creators and designers often collaborated. For instance, Takizawa linked and built with Tet from Double Taps. He even gave him his first Macintosh computer. Although, during the early years, Neighborhood and similar brands were popping in Japan, it took a while for them to gain notoriety in the West, as into the late 2000s, Neighborhood didn't have any flagship stores, and mostly sold out of Tokyo-based department stores and boutiques, and of course being featured in Nigo and Shun Takahashi's Nowhere store. However, this was mostly as a result of Takizawa basically focusing on his genuine passion of creating, rather than chasing the bag. Regardless, Neighborhood has gone on to partake in some noteworthy collaborations that helped put them on the map, such as of course Double Taps, Supreme in 2007, which helped cement them in the Western markets, as well as Ass Club, Bape, Adidas, and much more throughout the years. Furthering that, as years have gone by, Neighborhood has definitely evolved, which is reflected through the variety of themes seen in their collections, all of which still have the American influence, just seen in different ways, if that makes sense. Basically, the brand isn't held back or held down by forcing itself to stick to one certain type of style or aesthetic, it's more so influenced by the cultural landscape as a whole, and I feel as if that's helped the brand remain so prominent. It's hard for me to do Neighborhood justice in this short amount of time, so I recommend checking out their history, as there is a lot more to their story. Nevertheless, nowadays, Neighborhood has just recently released their Fall/Winter 2020 lookbook, and the collection is available on their site. It features a lot of interesting bandana prints and indigo dyed garments, as well as maintains the OG feel of the brand, which is seen in the tactical vests and Americana-esque denim. It's very evident that the brand has certainly evolved over the years, but it's nice that its roots are still apparent. Cactus Plant Flea Market, or CPFM as us intellects refer to it as, is a brand I admire as they provide design jobs to preschoolers in order to allow them to gain viable work experience from an early age. Child labor conspiracies aside, CPFM is a streetwear brand founded by Cynthia Liu in January 2015. Despite Cynthia having connections with Pharrell Williams and still serving as his PA and chief confidant, CPFM started out similar to many grade 11 students' streetwear startup brands through a big cartel page and randomly dropping unique Johns teased on Instagram. More on their clothes, many of them have very childlike, wholesome, Corky-esque designs, as well as smiley faces and feature little phrases such as, "I like you, you're different." The designs definitely helped give the brand a genuine feel, as a lot of the graphics look like they've been hand-drawn almost. Anyway, a little more on Cynthia. She formerly worked as a designer for Billionaire Girls Club, and as I mentioned, her prior connections with Pharrell definitely helped propel CPFM. He's been a pretty big supporter of the brand, and was one of the first big celebrities to hop on the wave in 2016, which of course led to many other individuals such as Kid Cudi, A$AP Rocky, Frank Ocean, and a lot more individuals in and amongst the streetwear community to start fucking with the brand. 2018 seemed to be when CPFM would get its big break as a result of a handful of big collabs and notable pieces, between designing merch for Kanye and Kid Cudi's Kids See Ghost, and then later on debuting those VaporMax chargeable joints. CPFM certainly continued to cement itself as a recognizable, notable brand. They also released the Ye Must Be Born Again hoodie, which is is definitely another standout piece, and they collabed with Kanye on awesome Jesus is King merch. Since then, CPFM has continued their hot streak by receiving a plethora of celebrity endorsements, as well as partaking in a lot more collabs, through working with the likes of Ass Club, Kerwin Frost, ASAP Mob, and Og for Yams Day, Come Dig Our Song, Human Made, Marc Jacobs, and much, much more. With seemingly no signs of slowing down, good job CPFM, stay quirky my friends. When he's not practicing his 720 insta-swaps with FaZe Banks IRL in an attempt to win the Phase 5 competition, Shane Gonzalez is hard in the lab finding new ways to use his brand as a vessel for channeling his creative thoughts onto screen-printed t-shirts. From the brand's About page on their site, Midnight Studios is stated as being an American-based fashion label by designer Shane Gonzalez. Established in 2014 at age 19, Gonzalez combines the punk and youth street style in an anti-aesthetic manner. That's a good excuse for saying your clothes look like shit. I'm gonna keep that one in mind. Anyway, more on Shane's story. In 2012, he interned for Russ Carablin, who ran the streetwear line SSUR, where Shane went on to gain viable experience in regard to all the aspects associated with running a brand, which ultimately inspired him to one day start his own brand, which we know today as Midnight Studios. Shane also reportedly got the name from the Miles Davis song Round Midnight, which led to him having a schizo found a pattern in the numbers type moment, where he had a strange fascination with the word midnight and felt compelled to start putting it on t-shirts. As previously mentioned, Shane is heavily influenced by the punk aesthetic, Raph and Vivienne Westwood being his primary fashion inspirations, which are most seen in his earlier collections. This also coincides with the struggle of being put in the youth fake punk bubble early on in his career, where he had to essentially prove his authenticity. Anyway, the brand started gaining some more recognition through our favorite glory boy, Ian Connor, linking Rocky and Shane together. Shane gave him a t-shirt and Rocky wore it in the Lord Pretty Flocko Jody 2 video. Shane has maintained relationships with the Og crowd, which is seen through the whole Midnight Rave stuff they did together in late 2018 and 2019, where, as the name suggests, they held some raves and pop-up shops containing limited Og x Midnight Studios merch. Before that even, Shane worked with Big Virgil in 2016, which helped further shed some light on the brand. From there, throughout the past few years, Midnight Studios has continued to debut collections that still very much have a dark and punk aesthetic and feel to them, such as their Spring-Summer 2017 Safety Pin collection and Fall-Winter 18's I Remember Nothing collection that introduced some more military and band-inspired elements. The brand has gone on to collaborate with the likes of Converse, Courtney Love, the Sex Pistols, Juice WRLD, Boy London, Suacoke, Bauhaus, and much more. Oh yeah, he also worked on Playboi Carti albums, so he cool swag me like. Another brand made popular by stealing designs from Minimal is Rhude. Founded by LA-based John's enthusiast Rhude Villasenor in 2015, Rhude was meant to serve as a brand that balanced luxury and streetwear through various ready-to-wear collections. According to the brand's About page, Rhude is both a collection of modern socio-economics and stories personal to Rhude, the themes of American iconography with nostalgic references, as well as a visual commentary on LA style and culture, reoccurs season to season and can be felt throughout each collection. Same with Rhude's personal stories that recollect his journey in regard to moving from his home in the Philippines to growing up in the Calabasas area. More on Rhude himself, he studied art history after graduating high school and was an understudy to Sean Sampson. Although he has no formal fashion design training, Rhude credits his understanding of John's to growing up with a mother who was a tailor who bestowed fundamental knowledge upon him and taught him how to construct each piece as well as how to assert the accompanying stories told via each collection. Also, a lot of his inspiration stems from his previous sorrow and experiences. References from his childhood, travels, and relationships play a big role in his design process, and he also coached a youth basketball team. But anyway, as Rhude grows, so does Rhude, which was most recently culminated with the brand's presentation during Paris Men's Fashion Week for its Spring-Summer 2020 collection. Rhude is definitely doing something right, whether it's the personal feel, the graphics and references, or just cool fire clothes. A lot of consumers tend to resonate with the brand, even celebrities such as Kendrick Lamar and Kobe Bryant, which was massive for him as he's gone on record to state how Kobe was/is his favorite player, but Frank Ocean, Big Sean, the Migos, and more have been seen in his clothes. More on that, as Rhude grew up wearing uniforms essentially, that's often reflected in his designs. Also same with a lot of cigarette references, which he's stated is as a result of being around around a bunch of kids who smoked in the Philippines, and by having an ex-girlfriend who was a smoker as well. Again, furthering the notion of his designs reflecting his past experiences. Anyway, there is a very LA and American feel to the clothes. Oftentimes you'll see a lot of flannels, workwear-esque stuff, and these orangish yellow drawstrings tend to make a lot of reoccurring appearances as well. Same with iconic bandana prints. Same with lots of denim and various jackets, you get the idea. It definitely appears to me as a daily streetwear uniform type beat. Most recently, with its Spring-Summer 2021 collection, Rhude focused on looking at themes of the American dream and interpreting the meaning of what the modern wardrobe looked like given the world's current state. Basically, Rhude has put its streetwear-esque twist on a variety of cozy, loungy, yet sporty and relaxed garments, but of course still with that uniform feel to them. Also, Rhude has collaborated with a fair amount of brands such as Puma and Vans, and Rhude has personally worked with PacSun and Future, so I guess that counts too, and they've worked with Clot as well. And as I'm writing this, Rhude posted a teaser to his Instagram showing that they have more collabs on the way with the Lakers, Vans, and Puma again. And final fun fact, Rhude is spelled like rude because it's tradition in Rhude's family to start all the names with RH, so like Rhude is just rude with an RH, so it makes rude instead of rude. Yeah. Acronym, aka Cyberpunk 2077 clothes IRL, originally started off as a design agency based in Munich, Germany. Founded in 1994 by bald beauty Errolson Hugh and Michaela Sachenbacher, the duo placed heavy focus on combining technology and functionality in the form of stylish johns. Similar to Stone Island in the sense of always experimenting with new things, dare I say Acronym even takes it a step further. They're so confident in their work and designs that they spend little to no time on marketing, they instead let their projects speak for themselves. Despite the brand partaking in some pretty high-profile collabs, such as working with Nike to release the Acronym Air Presto, the designers behind Acronym aren't caught up in the hype. Nowadays, obviously as the brand has gained notoriety in the techwear and streetwear worlds alike, Acronym is a much more common name, but back in the day it was very much if you know you know for a while. Anyway, although Acronym has been producing its own apparel since 2002, they've also done work for other companies such as the German snowboarding company known as Protective, which then led to them working with Burton, and that's where Acronym's designers garnered experience working with sportswear and military technology, and resulted in them wanting to apply those to everyday attire. Basically, performance wear, but make it cool. Acronym's garments have always been very agile, futuristic-esque, technology and functionality based, and of course very swag-filled, hence why I'm talking about it. Acronym places heavy importance on materials, craftsmanship, and just all the effort they put into their pieces, hence the high price points. From there, Acronym released their first full collection in fall 2003, and as I've mentioned previously, they had zero marketing for this besides word of mouth and a few magazine features. They're so tapped into the design world that all their focus is on the products, no compromise, no cutting corners for clout, and that's why enthusiasts are so drawn to the brand. They basically know they're getting their money's worth. Acronym has only continued to innovate over the years, which has resulted essentially in a positive feedback loop. Throughout the years, more and more techwear enthusiasts such as John Mayer and Robin Williams have taken note of Acronym. Furthering that, Acronym has gone on to work with, as I mentioned, Nike, as well as my personal favorite, a collab with Hideo Kojima to make a Death Stranding variant of its J1A GT jacket. Nowadays, Acronym continues to push boundaries by releasing seemingly more and more innovative and interesting pieces and collections, if only I knew how to navigate their website. In all seriousness, again, I could go on, but I want to keep this relatively short. Acronym is a cool-ass brand. I recommend looking into it further. I'll leave some more articles and interviews below. Check them out or perish in Blighttown. I know all my subscribers are big brain, big ball geniuses, so this one's for you guys. C2H4 is a big science brand. It's all about the concept of chemistry, as the name stems from the molecular formula for ethylene. The brand was originally founded by Shanghai-born Yishi Chen in 2014, who wanted to combine science and cultural influences. As best stated on the brand's about page, C2H4 is a vessel to express fashion philosophy and experimental spirit with innovative garment construction. The masterminds behind the brand consider themselves to be visionary chemists and scientists who create the future. They focus on trailblazing fabric materials and processes, testing and tailoring cultural theories, analyzing apparels, and basically going through the whole scientific process in order to determine how to make some slapper garments. In regard to the brand's history, one of its first collections was a collaboration with the West Coast artist Stefan Cartolano. The coinciding campaign for the collection, which still holds up to today, was entitled A Fucked Up Collection for a Fucked Up World. Even in the early beginnings of the brand, Ishi was able to attract the attention of many, thanks in part to the brand's unmatched vision, which led to C2H4 working with Highsnobiety as a part of their White on Web project that allowed C2H4 to gain justified recognition through debuting its capsule collection, Underwater Love, at Milan Fashion Week in 2016. From there, C2H4 has worked with Kappa for their Spring-Summer 2018 collection, which helped further promote them. They also worked with Vans in 2018, as well as Number 9, which are both pretty epic collabs, so that was certainly a big year for the brand. A bit more on Ishi, a lot of her inspiration stems from everyday life and films, which is reflected through the brand's Spring-Summer 2017 collection being inspired by the movie Trainspotting. She's also inspired by the whole cyberpunk aesthetic and just new interpretations of fashion as a whole, and that's pretty evident through how futuristic their garments look. Also, a pretty cool factoid, the fake C2H4 space agency was developed in order to further promote and encourage the notion of there being no limits to the brand. The Spring-Summer 2018 collection, Zero Gravity, basically signified that with the removal of gravity, aka limits, they're free to do whatever they want, and I'm sure that definitely served as motivation for Ishi and the brand. Overall, C2H4 is a pretty cool and unique brand. I recommend checking them out if you're a fan of something like a Cold Wall, or if you're into buying a human data storage ATM machine. Pleasures is a very cool, very edgy, LA-based streetwear brand founded by Alex James in 2015. It's very much known for its punk and grunge-inspired vibes, and it hasn't gone without its fair share of controversy either. For instance, in July 2015, one of their t-shirts featured Kurt Cobain's suicide note on it, as well as a hat featuring the words "Rip Morrissey," which is definitely for shock value, but a lot of people obviously condemned it. Overall, that move definitely put Pleasures on the map, as both of these pieces, and their fall 2015 collection as a whole, sold out. All publicity is good publicity, I guess. But back to the brand, it's been able to gain notoriety quite quickly in its short time being in the limelight through collaborations with Adidas, Marilyn Manson, Crocs, Reebok, and the estate of Joy Division to celebrate their 40th anniversary. Also, Pleasures has of course been seen on quite a few celebrities as well. However, despite gaining attention through superficial means, the authentic grunge feel of the brand has definitely attracted the attention of consumers, music connoisseurs, and hypebeasts alike. And all of their pieces are made in the US of A, which help further promotes the appeal of the brand. In regard to some of the brand's history, although Alex James is from New Jersey, he ended up working as an IT technician in LA, then at a data center, which he wasn't too fond of. In 2007, his friend Michael approached him asking if he wanted to start a shoe brand called Thorocraft. As Alex didn't really have any experience in the fashion industry, he took this opportunity to start learning. In 2009, he partnered with his same friend again and hopped on the cozy boy wave through launching a men's apparel brand called Publish. He worked as the brand's creative director for 6 years and eventually dipped as he wanted to start his own brand. So he launched Pleasures in the summer of 2015, and with that, world hunger was solved, all conflicts came to a halt, women acknowledged my existence. Wait. Never mind, wrong timeline, forget I said anything. So Alex was mostly inspired by the hardcore punk scene from where he grew up in New Jersey, and funnily enough, the first piece he designed was the Rip Morrissey tee, and that was the first of many iconic pieces, such as the Girls a Gun tee, which was another hit, as Cool Guy Playboy Cardi wore it in the Magnolia video. Man, that's an underrated song. Anyway, with the Army of Me hoodies being another hit, the brand continued to grow via celebrity cosigns and through gaining recognition from within the streetwear crowd. Good marketing and shock value definitely contribute to the band's success, as well as their statements and graphics, which definitely resonate with a lot of people. They aren't scared to hold back. On top of that, their pieces are pretty affordable, and they're in a lot of stores too, so they're very accessible compared to other brands. Insert meme of Fish ordering at the Krusty Krab, and he's like, I'll take a punk-inspired graphic t-shirt brand. And then Squidward's all like, oh, daring today, aren't we? Based in Queens, New York, Aimé Dore strives to deliver simple yet meaningful designs in order to create a uniquely timeless aesthetic. The website's about page redirects you to Nas' Illmatic, so that's all you need to know. End of video. Goodbye. That was a good joke, huh? You really think you can get rid of me that easily? Funny. I pity you. Anyway, back to the brand. Teddy Saints founded Aimé Dore in 2014. Aimé meaning loved, and Leon is his father's name, and Dore stems from Teddy's legal government name, Theodore. It's apparent that Teddy's fondness of New York flows through the brand, and according to Essence, the label owes its signature high-low blend of urban and tailored essentials to Teddy's nostalgic memories of growing up in Queens. New York isn't the only influence here. The brand is also inspired by the graffiti scene and basketball stars, which which has resulted in the brand putting its unique spin on menswear favorites in order to give them a new, fresh, timeless feel. Oftentimes, utility jackets, windbreakers, and layering give the brand its own very refined aesthetic. There's definitely a classy feel to it, rather than a bougie, nasty, and ratchet feel. In regard to a bit of the history behind the brand, although it is still relatively new, its influence and significance are already felt in and among streetwear and men's fashion realms alike. Teddy got into the fashion world in 2010 when he worked marketing for a boutique eyewear store in Manhattan. It was there that the idea of creating his own Johns dawned on him. In 2012, he created a logo for Aimé which was screen printed on a crew neck and shared on Instagram by his close personal celebrity friend, Ronnie Feig of Kith, which gained some traction and created a demand for the yet-to-be official brand. 2014 was when the brand debuted its first collection that included logo crew necks, jogging pants, vests, bombers, a wool trench coat, and other garments that went on to become brand staples. They also debuted a website, and both of which received quite a lot of compliments as it was very well executed. The brand opened a pop-up store in New York late 2014 as well, which helped further cement the brand's legitimacy. On top of collaborating with Kith in 2015, another iconic New York streetwear brand, Aimé and dore continued refining their style and gaining recognition through releasing more seasonal collections, and thanks in part to more collaborations, such as their 2015 collab with Puma. Each collection literally seemed to be getting better and better, each feeling more and more complete and refined than the last. Their Spring-Summer 2018 collection that featured some tie-dye hats, shirts, and shorts were definitely hits. They tapped in at the right time, and they furthered that momentum through living up to their hype with their 2019 collections. I definitely recommend taking a look at some of their stuff if you are interested in more classy, quality garments that still hold true to a streetwear-esque aesthetic. Since it is inspired by things such as 90s hip-hop and Michael Jordan, it really does blur the line between streetwear and menswear. The brand has a great philosophy behind it, there are a lot of really well-made garments, and it doesn't feel like it's trying too hard. The brand has definitely stayed true to its roots, which shows considering its flagship store can be found on Mulberry Street in New York. Cool brand, tap in before it's too late. Alright, Ragers, we've laughed, we've cried, we've learned, but alas, all shitposts must come to an end. If you made it this far, God bless your soul. Make sure to check out the description for more resources if you're interested in learning more. Drop a fat like or something, I don't know, follow my Instagram maybe, validate my existence through digital means maybe. Also, if you know any more interesting factoids, be sure to drop them down below to help enlighten your fellow Ragers. Have a mildly adequate day or night, and go back to doing your homework or whatever you were doing before you started procrastinating and watching this video. I'm on to you. Later, Ragers.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
2 for 1.